11 children, 3 mothers, 1 child who died at 10 weeks old, 1 who legally erased the Musk name and walked away for good, 3 whose names read like source code XAE, 12 Exa Dark Sideræl, Technomechanicus, 3 who were educated in a private school with no grades and no textbooks, and 3 more who exist only in court filings with 0 public photographs. This is not a family. This is a case study in what happens when the richest man on earth, worth over $200 billion, builds an empire but cannot hold a household together. Watch until the end, because the stories behind Elon Musk's 11 children will change how you understand the human cost of ambition that has no off switch. The lost Nevada Alexander Musk and the wound that never healed. The story of Elon Musk's children does not begin with wealth. It begins with death. In 2002, Musk and his first wife, Justine Wilson, welcomed their firstborn son, Nevada Alexander Musk. The timing could not have been more charged. Musk had just cashed out from the sale of PayPal for $1.5 billion, pocketing approximately $175 million personally, and was pouring nearly everything he had into 2 ventures that most people in Silicon Valley thought were dead on arrival: Tesla and SpaceX. He was 31 years old, newly wealthy, absurdly ambitious, and about to bet his entire fortune on electric cars and rockets. And then, 10 weeks after Nevada was born, the baby died of sudden infant death syndrome. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, is every new parent's nightmare. It strikes without warning, without explanation, and without any action the parent could have taken to prevent it. There is no medical failure to blame. There is no one to hold accountable. There is only absence, a crib that was full and then was not. Musk has almost never spoken publicly about Nevada. When journalists have raised the subject, his response has been the same clipped deflection. "I do not like to talk about that." The brevity of that statement from a man who will talk for hours about Mars colonization, artificial intelligence, or the engineering specifications of a rocket engine reveals more than any elaboration could. Nevada is the one subject where the man who has an opinion about everything has nothing to say. The loss did not slow Musk down. If anything, it accelerated him. Within months, he and Justine were pursuing IVF treatments, a decision that would eventually produce 5 more children in rapid succession. The drive to build, to create, to fill the silence with activity and achievement is a pattern that psychologists would recognize instantly and that Musk himself has never publicly examined. The man who lost his first child at 10 weeks went on to have 10 more, spreading them across 3 mothers, multiple households, and a lifestyle so fragmented that no single home contains the entire family at any given moment. Whether the frenzy of creation, children, companies, colonies on Mars is connected to the loss of Nevada is a question that only Musk could answer. He has chosen not to. And that silence, in a man who is constitutionally incapable of staying quiet about anything else, is the loudest thing he has ever said. When the richest man on earth refuses to talk about his firstborn son, who died at 10 weeks, is that grief or avoidance? And is there a difference at that level of public visibility? Tell us in the comments. The split Griffin, the ghost, and Vivian, the one who walked away. In April 2004, when Tesla had not produced a single vehicle and SpaceX was still burning through cash on rockets that kept blowing up, Justine gave birth to twins, Griffin and Xavier. The 2 boys grew up inside a household defined by their father's escalating fame, his increasingly public persona, and a marriage that was falling apart under the weight of ambitions that left no room for domestic stability. Griffin and Xavier represent 2 radically different responses to the same impossible question. How do you build your own identity when your father's shadow is so massive that it blocks out the sun? Griffin chose invisibility. As of 2026, he is essentially a ghost. No social media presence, no public statements, no interviews, no traceable digital footprint of any kind. He has occasionally been spotted alongside his father at events, but he does not speak, does not engage with media, and does not appear to seek any form of public recognition. In a family where every member is relentlessly scrutinized, Griffin has pulled off something remarkable. He has made himself invisible in plain sight. Whether that invisibility is a deliberate strategy, a personality preference, or a survival mechanism developed in response to growing up as the son of the world's most visible billionaire is impossible to determine from the outside, because Griffin has ensured that there is no outside access to determine anything. Xavier took the opposite path, and the shockwaves have not stopped. At 18, Xavier filed legal paperwork to change both name and gender identity, becoming Vivian Jenner Wilson, taking the mother's surname and formally severing all legal ties to Elon Musk. The filing was not ambiguous. It was not a temporary rebellion. It was a line in the sand, a permanent, public, legally binding declaration that Vivian did not want the Musk name, did not want a relationship with her father, and did not want to be defined by a legacy she had not chosen. Musk's response was one of the rare moments where the public saw genuine emotion from a man who typically processes everything through the lens of engineering and systems thinking. He admitted that it felt like losing a child, a statement that carried devastating weight, given that Musk had already literally lost a child. By 2026, there is no public indication of reconciliation. Griffin remains silent. Vivian has moved on entirely. Two children who shared a womb now occupy two completely different universes, one invisible by choice, the other visible on her own terms, neither of them defined by the man whose DNA they carry, but whose name only one of them still bears. The experiment Kai, Saxon, Damien, and a school with no grades. In 2006, a year when Tesla was hemorrhaging money and SpaceX's rockets were still crashing into the Pacific Ocean, Justine gave birth to triplets, Kai, Saxon, and Damien Musk. Three boys, born simultaneously, entering a world where their father was teetering on the edge of bankruptcy while simultaneously trying to revolutionize two of the most capital-intensive industries on the planet. The triplets' childhood coincided with the period when Musk was at his most financially precarious, reportedly surviving on personal loans while pouring his last dollars into companies that the market had written off as pipe dreams. The most distinctive aspect of the triplets' upbringing was their education. Musk founded a private school called Ad Astra, Latin for "to the stars," that operated on principles diametrically opposed to conventional American education. There were no standardized tests, no grades, no traditional subject divisions, no textbooks in the conventional sense. Instead, students were presented with real-world problems and expected to figure out solutions using whatever tools and knowledge they could assemble independently. Musk's educational philosophy, as he explained it publicly, was built on a single inversion. Instead of teaching children how to use a screwdriver and then explaining why they need it, you show them the problem first and let them discover the tool on their own. The approach was designed to produce independent thinkers rather than compliant test takers, people who could build the future rather than merely inherit it. By 2026, the triplets are 20 years old. They rarely appear in media. Their social media presence is minimal to non-existent. Whether Ad Astra's unconventional approach actually produced the independent, future-building thinkers Musk intended is a question that cannot yet be answered because the triplets have not yet entered the public arena in any capacity that would allow evaluation. They exist in a holding pattern, old enough to have formed their own identities, but young enough that those identities have not yet been tested against the world outside their father's carefully constructed educational ecosystem. The jury is still out on whether raising children without grades, without textbooks, and without conventional structure produces visionaries or simply produces young adults who were never taught how to operate within the systems that the rest of the world runs on. The experiment is ongoing, the results are pending, and the three subjects of that experiment are keeping their cards close to the chest. Does a school with no grades and no textbooks produce geniuses or just privileged kids who never learned how the real world works? Your analysis below. The code names XAA-12, Exa Dark Sideræl, and Technomechanicus. After his divorce from Justine and two marriages to actress Talulah Riley, Musk entered a relationship with Grimes, the Canadian musician and visual artist whose creative identity fuses electronic music, artificial intelligence, aesthetics, and a deliberate blurring of the boundary between human and machine. Together, they produced 3 children whose names broke the internet, crashed government naming databases, and generated more linguistic analysis than most doctoral dissertations. The first, born in late 2020, was named XEA12, a combination so unusual that California's Vital Records Office rejected it, forcing a revision to XEA12. The name is not random. X represents the unknown variable, a mathematical symbol for something that has not yet been defined. A is a ligature that Grimes described as representing artificial intelligence. A 12 references the Archangel 12, the fastest aircraft ever built, and a song by Grimes that she considers her favorite. The name reads like a product designation from one of Musk's companies, and that is precisely the point. The child was named the way an engineer names a prototype, with specifications that describe function rather than identity. In 2022, they welcomed a daughter, Exa Dark Sideræl, nicknamed Y. Exa refers to the mathematical prefix for a billion unit of computation that exceeds the processing capacity of the human brain. Dark references dark matter, not darkness in the emotional sense, but the invisible substance that constitutes the majority of the universe's mass, yet remains undetectable by any instrument ever built. Sideræl derives from the Latin word for stars. In 2023, a third child arrived. Technomechanicus Musk, nicknamed Tau, a name that sounds less like a baby and more like a patent filing. The three children of Musk and Grimes are growing up at the intersection of two radically different worldviews: their father's universe of engineering, systems optimization, and measurable outcomes, and their mother's universe of art, sound, and intentional chaos. Whether the collision of those two worldviews produces children who are creatively brilliant or profoundly confused is a question that nobody, including their parents, can answer yet. The names are bold, the experiment is unprecedented, and the children themselves are too young to have any say in either. The hidden ones, Strider, Azure, Arcadia, and the children who exist only in court papers. And here, the story enters its most opaque chapter, because 3 of Musk's 11 children exist almost entirely outside the public record. Strider and Azure were confirmed through legal documents rather than birth announcements, their existence revealed not by proud parents sharing photographs, but by court filings and regulatory disclosures that named their mother as Siobhan Zelis, a senior executive at Neuralink, Musk's brain-computer interface company. The overlap between Musk's personal and professional relationships adds a layer of complexity that most corporate governance frameworks were not designed to accommodate. The mother of 2 of the CEO's children is also a senior leader at one of his companies, creating dynamics that are simultaneously personal, professional, and in the eyes of corporate governance experts, deeply problematic. In 2024, a third child, Arcadia Musk, was confirmed publicly, though the details surrounding the birth remain sparse. By 2026, all 3 children are completely absent from public view. No photographs have been published, no social media appearances have occurred. No interviews with their mother about their upbringing have been given. The silence is absolute and appears to be deliberate, a conscious decision to protect these children from being defined by their father's fame before they are old enough to define themselves. In a family where one child became a global headline by rejecting the Musk name and another became famous simply because his name contained a mathematical symbol, the decision to keep Strider, Azure, and Arcadia entirely out of the spotlight is not merely privacy. It is a survival strategy, an attempt to give 3 children something that none of their older siblings had: a childhood that is not consumed by the gravitational pull of being Elon Musk's kid. The contrast between the hidden children and the public ones is the most revealing dimension of the entire Musk family story. XEA12's name was debated on every talk show in America. Vivian's legal separation from her father generated headlines for months. Griffin's invisibility has itself become a subject of media fascination. But Strider, Azure, and Arcadia occupy a different space entirely, a space where their father's wealth, estimated at over $200 billion, provides something that money rarely buys at this level of fame: genuine anonymity. Whether that anonymity will hold as they grow older in a world where facial recognition, social media, and the insatiable appetite of celebrity journalism make privacy increasingly impossible is the open question that hangs over these 3 children like a clock, counting down to the moment when the world discovers who they are and demands to know everything about them. The legacy: 11 children, 3 mothers, and the question nobody can answer. 11 children, 3 mothers, 1 dead at 10 weeks, 1 who legally walked away, 2 who speak to no one, 3 educated in a school without grades, 3 named like source code, 3 hidden behind legal filings and absolute silence. This is the family of the richest man on earth, and the picture it paints is not one of dynasty, continuity, or generational wealth transfer. It is a picture of fragmentation, a family scattered across households, cities, worldviews, and emotional distances so vast that no amount of money can bridge them. The financial infrastructure exists to support every one of these children for 100 lifetimes. Musk's fortune over $200 billion across Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, XAI, and other ventures generates more wealth in a single market fluctuation than most families accumulate across generations. The compound in Austin, the private jets, the security details, the schools, the material scaffolding of an extraordinary childhood is available to every Musk child in abundance. But material scaffolding is not what any of these children appear to need. What they need, and what the stories reveal they are each searching for in radically different ways, is identity. A sense of self that exists independently of the most famous surname in technology. A life that is theirs rather than an extension of his. Vivian found that identity by burning the bridge entirely, dropping the name, changing genders, taking her mother's surname, and building a life that has no visible connection to the man who fathered her. Griffin found it by vanishing, becoming so invisible that even the most aggressive tabloid journalists cannot produce a current photograph. The triplets are suspended in the ambiguity of an educational experiment whose results have not yet materialized. The Grimes children carry names that function as philosophical statements rather than identities, labels assigned by parents who may have been more interested in what the name signified than in how the children would feel carrying them through a school cafeteria. And Strider, Azure, and Arcadia exist behind a wall of silence so complete that they might as well be fictional characters in a story that has not yet been written, protected from the world by a father whose inability to stay out of the spotlight makes their anonymity all the more remarkable. The wealth is there. The empire is there. The question that none of it answers, and that only these 11 children can eventually resolve, is whether a man who built companies worth over $1 trillion left enough space in his life for the people who did not ask, to be part of the mission, but who will carry its consequences long, after the rockets have landed and the stock price has been forgotten. Which of Musk's 11 children do you think made the hardest choice? The one who walked away, the one who disappeared, or the ones who never had a choice at all? Your verdict in the comments. The story of Elon Musk's 11 children reveals 3 strategic truths about what happens when extreme wealth collides with the irreducible complexity of human relationships. First, Vivian's legal separation demonstrates that a $200 billion fortune cannot prevent a child from rejecting the family that created it, and that some children, the most powerful act of self-definition, is the decision to walk away from a name that the entire world recognizes. Second, the Ad Astra experiment illustrates that billionaires can redesign education, fund alternative schools, and reject conventional metrics, but they cannot guarantee that the children who emerge from those systems will be better equipped for life than children who learn to take tests and follow instructions. Third, the hidden children Strider, Azure, and Arcadia reveal that at the highest levels of wealth and fame, the most valuable thing a parent can give a child is not money, education, or opportunity. It is anonymity, the chance to grow up without the world watching, judging, and assigning meaning to every detail of a life that has barely begun. From a firstborn lost at 10 weeks to a teenager who erased the family name. From triplets raised without grades to babies named like mathematical equations. From court filings that revealed children nobody knew existed to a silence so complete that 3 of the richest children on earth have no public identity whatsoever. What you have seen today is the complete anatomy of the most fragmented billionaire family in modern history. 11 children searching for 11 different versions of a life that exists outside the longest shadow in technology. If this kind of deep analysis is valuable to you, hit like and subscribe. In the next episode, we will reveal the hidden heirs of the 5 wealthiest families on Earth, children whose combined inheritance exceeds the GDP of most nations, but whose names the public has never heard.